Hey everybody, welcome to the lesson here at THSS Technology. We've been away for a little while, but let's kind of get back into it. So, current state of our game, we got a working UI, we collect our skulls, they add to our total count there, we got our platforms, we got our double jump, we got our power-ups. Everything is kind of working as we want. What we're going to be doing today is adding a very simple enemy functionality. Think Mario 1-1 style with the walking Goomba. So let's get started. Let's start off by making a new scene here. And for the root node, I'm going to create it as a rigid body 2D. Okay? And our enemy is going to be a goat, so I'm just going to call this goat. The next thing I'm going to add is an animated sprite 2D, and then we'll also add a collision shape 2D. Okay, so we're going to go to animated sprite over here, and we're going to create a new set of sprite frames. We'll click on that, bring it up down here. We're going to go to our artwork folder, and I'm going to bring in my Billy Goat art made by one of our students, Autumn. So we're going to kind of drag that down into our animation. Not there, of course. We're going to go through the little, click on the little waffle there, and we're going to bring it up this way instead. Perfect. Okay, so it's all kind of wonky here. We're going to have to slice this up. And on the horizontal, we're going to want, on the vertical, we're going to want it as 1. And on the horizontal, is it 56? Let's have a little look-see here now. And how many frames do we have in this animation here? Looks like it is... Looks like we're sitting at 70 frames here. Looks perfect. Okay, now that we've sliced it up on the horizontal and vertical, we're going to select our idle animation here, which is 9 frames. Then we're going to add 9 frames, and we can kind of zoom in here, kind of see the state of our animation. A little bit slow, so let's boost this up. I think we're sitting at 12 FPS there. Kind of a creepy little animation, but it is getting the job done. I like the look of it. That is, of course, how all Billy Goats stand on their hind legs. So we're going to pause that here. We're going to set it to autoplay. And actually, I think what we're also going to do is just going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to put the scale up to 2, just make it more in line with the player. Excellent. Now we're going to go to the collision shape, and we're going to add a new shape here. We'll make it a new rectangular shape, and let's scale it up to the size of our Billy Goat. Perfect. And now if we hit play, we want to make sure our collider is getting the up and down. That looks pretty good. And the bottom can go up, and the left can go over 1. Perfect. So it's getting fully contained in our collider there. I'm happy with that. Let's just pause that animation again. Perfect. Okay, so we have our animation set up. It's just going to autoplay. The goat's going to idle. We'll worry about doing a moving animation later. But now we have to do is we have to create a method in which that our player can interact with our goat. Right now we'd be able to jump on the goat, but nothing would really happen. So we are going to make this kind of similar to how we made our power-ups. We're going to add another node on our parent here, and this is going to be an area 2D. So remember, the area 2D allows us to use the on-body enter node, which is what we're really wanting to get out of this. So on our area 2D here, we're going to add another collider, because the area 2D also needs a collider. We're going to do a rectangular collision shape on this. And we're going to make this slightly bigger. Now we want to make sure this collider is bigger because that means it'll detect the player before the player actually gets stopped by the collider of the rigid body. Excellent. So now we can go onto our parent node here. We can attach a script. Let's make sure we are putting it into our correct folder here, our scripts folder. We'll just call it goat. That works for me. And we're going to click create. Now, we don't need any of this, so we'll just get rid of all these extra stuff here. And now what we're going to start to do is we're going to click on our area 2D. We're going to go to the node tab, and we're going to bring in our body enter node here. Excellent. Okay. So what we have going on here is when a body enters the collider of the goat, we can have it run whatever we want. So let's start off just to make sure this is working. So we're just going to do a simple print command, and we're going to say body entered. I always like doing print commands just to test to make sure everything's working. Let's put that in the scripts folder there. Excellent. Okay, so now let's go back to our level 1 scene here, and let's instantiate our goat. And let's just bring our goat down over here. Okay, so let's see how this works. Let's hit play and get going. Okay, it's looking good. Can't really see our console here, so let's move this up. And as you can see, every time I'm hitting the goat, it is saying body entered. But I actually want to show you something right here. If you notice, it's actually saying body entered immediately. And that's because the goat is entering the body of the collider of the ground. We really only want our goat command here to be running when the player enters that. So we're going to learn a new thing here that's going to search for different aspects in our code. So we're going to do an if statement, okay? And we're going to say if body. What is body? Well, body is this up here, whatever the body that is entering the area 2D. Body.name, and this is going to look for a very specific name. Now, whenever we're doing names, we want to make sure we're making it a string by doing the quotation mark. So if body.name is equal to, and we're going to type player, okay? Now, the reason I can use this word player is because this is what I called it over here in the hierarchy, okay? So if the body name is player, and let's complete our if statement, then we'll do a print command, player entered the body. Okay, the error should go away, looking good. Let's go back and run our game now. If you'll notice, there is no console message down here saying that we have entered until we now do that. Perfect. Okay, so that's looking really good. I'm happy with that. And then if you really wanted to, you could do Q free. And then we'll go and play the game. The goat will actually go away when you hit it. But that's not really what I want to be doing right now. I want to create a system where if you bump into the side of the goat, it takes away some of your health. But if you jump on the goat's head, it'll actually kill the goat at that point. Okay, so let's work on getting that functionality into our game. So there's a couple ways we could do this. Okay, we can go back to our goat object here. If we wanted to, we could create another area 2D here with another collision shape. And for like one of the collision shapes, we could have it just at the goat's head, right? And for the other collision shape, we could have it just on the goat's body. And then each one, we can create a separate node over here, a separate signal node, and have them do different things. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But I'm going to try and control this through code instead. Just makes it a little bit more efficient. If you're running less nodes here on the sides, the game's just going to run a little bit better, okay? So let's try to do this with code here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new variable right here in the area 2D, okay? And I'm just going to call this, I don't know, hit zone. All right, that's fine. You can call it whatever you really want. And what we're going to make our hit zones, we're going to do a very simple math equation here. We're going to take the position on the y of the enemy. So we'll just say position.y, okay? And we're wanting y because we're wanting to see what's the body and what's the head. So we're going vertically, so we're going to use the y-axis. And then we're going to minus it the body's dot position dot y, okay? And what that's going to do is this is going to give us a number about where that line is going to be when we are hitting the head versus hitting the body of our goat. So let me show you what this means. So if we do a print command here, and we will say print the hit zone, okay? So let me show you what this is actually doing here. So we're going to hit play. Okay, let's move it up so you can see our console here. So our console down here at the bottom. And if I bump the goat here, it's giving me -1, -42, kind of in there range, -135. But if I jump on the goat's head, that's giving me a value of 60. Okay, if I jump kind of very near this head, it's going to give me a little, kind of right around 52-ish, but it looks like 60 is kind of the point where you're going to hit the goat's head. Now this is all relative because we're taking the relative position of the enemy and the relative position of the player. So that number is going to be the same no matter where you are on your map, because it's taking the relative position, not the global position. So, good. So we know that 60 is kind of the point on the y-axis where we're wanting to hit, okay? So now what we're going to do, we're going to say if your hit zone, okay, so if the hit zone is greater than 60, so we're going to create a situation here, then we could say Q free. All right, so let's go try that out. So if I hit here, nothing happens, but if I jump on the head, it goes away, right? Nice and simple. And then we can create the enemy hurting us. Then we just do a simple else statement, and then we can say global variables dot player health, and then we'll say minus 10. Nice simple amount. So let's go test that out here, right? So if you see my health here in the upper left, 90, 80, 70. If I jump on the head, it stays at 70, and it does kill the goat. Perfect. So that is a really simple way to implement a basic enemy into your game that has different aspects that you can hit and damage or get damage from. One last thing I want to add is I want to add a little bit more of a Mario feature here. I want it that when I'm jumping on the head of the goat, it gives me a little bounce. Goats are notoriously bouncy, especially their heads. So we're going to create a bounce function that happens automatically when you hit on the goat's head. And this gives us a good opportunity to kind of talk about custom functions. So here's my player script here. We've been kind of playing around with this a lot. And what I've done is I've actually created a custom function in here, just right at the top, called bounce. You can call it whatever you want. I just called mine bounce. And bounce, all it's going to do is going to take my velocity on the y and give it a negative 300. Now remember, when working Godot, on the y-axis, negative means go up, positive means you go down. The x-axis is still the same as it normally is in your math class, but for the y-axis, it is inverse. Okay, so when this bounce function gets called, it's going to take our velocity on the y and make us go upwards, give you my negative 300 in the velocity. Okay, now this is only going to happen once this bounce function is called. So I'm going to go back to my goat script here. And before I do the cue free, I'm going to take my body, okay, and then we are going to say bounce, right, which is the function that I wrote in there, and we are going to call that function with those round brackets there. So if the hit zone is greater than 60, go to the body, and what's the body? Well, the body is whatever enters the area 2D, but of course we've set it up that the only thing that can enter the area 2D is the player, and then it's going to grab the bounce function, which is going to take our velocity on the y and shoot us up 300. So let's go try that out now. Okay, so our health's still going down, but if I jump on the head, there we go. It's going to give us a nice little bounce. All right, quick and easy way to implement your enemy. We hope you found that helpful, and we will see you all later.